Hello and welcome. My name is Lexi Jong and here I like to talk about luxury beauty. Today we are doing a full face of Westman Atelier and we're using two of the shades of the new Vital Skincare Press Powder. And I've got a couple additional demos of that powder as well that I'm gonna be sharing with you so you can kind of really see how it performs and what it looks like. Now, let's go ahead. We're going to start with the get ready with me and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk in detail about these products today. All right, so we're starting off with the Surratt Perfectioniste Primer. And a lot of the times when I'm working with Westman Atelier products for primer, I will actually go in with the lit up stick. And I decided I didn't want to do that today. We're going to try underpainting with Westman Atelier products. So oftentimes I will use these products, particularly contour products underneath. This is the Westman Atelier Face Trace Contour Stick in Biscuit. And I'm going to go ahead, let's put that on. And you know what? Let's add the blush too. I want to go bright today. We're going in with Pop It, which is kind of a bright pink. And let's just put those there. We're going to blend this out a little bit before adding foundation. So I'm using the Westman Atelier blender brush. And I'm just going to blur the edges of these products just a little bit. And I am wiping my brush in between because I don't want to necessarily smear the pink and the brown together. And we're going to cover this with the foundation. We'll see how the foundation does with this as well. I've never really done underpainting with the blushes. So this is the Westman Atelier Vital Skin Foundation Stick. I use shade N, and I'm going to take a little bit on my finger here first and just kind of put that underneath the eye. And then we're going to go in with it all over the face as well. So I'm going to start off by getting some of the foundation on the brush, and I'm going to dab that over these areas. Get a little bit more. Okay, and I'm going to start blending. Just swiping a bit and see how this looks at the end. This is an experiment. It could go well or it could go poorly. I'm just going to dab a little bit of this on my finger down here. And just dabbing out the edges with the brush. You can see it took off a little bit there too, but that's okay. Just dab a little bit more of that on. Just gonna be a little more careful, go around the edges. And we're gonna try setting that with the powder. So overall, I think the underpainting with these two shades worked pretty well. This is it up close. What do you guys think? All right, so with the Vital Pressed Powders, you can use these, you know, kind of set the makeup or all over as a finishing powder. We're going to go in, this is the Refer 19, it's a blush brush, but I'm going to take this and I'm going to put a little bit of this under the eye. I see the difference between the two. You can kind of see what effect it has, but this is the pink bubble, which is used for a little bit of brightening. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to add a little bit of the creme on my face as well. I'm going to kind of leave most of the cheek area. I'm going to use a Refer 30 brush, just loose powder here. Just going to get a little on here. And you can see even when I tap this off, you don't really lose product here. So I'm just going to leave a little bit of that cheekbone. And just gonna add this to kind of set what's here a little bit and just mattify it a little. I'm gonna take a little bit of the creme on my finger, tap that on it. Let's see if it does anything. not so much, but you can see the difference in my skin with the powder on versus before I put the powder on. My hair I've got up so that, you know, I could put on my makeup without it getting in the way. And you can see it's already like just frizzing up. It's so humid here right now. All right, next we're going to go in with the highlighter. I'm going to use the Peau de Santé. So this is the one that recently came out. And just something to note, my compact here, this part is not, I don't think it's going to fall apart or anything like that. But mine rattles a little bit. This is not tightly adhered to it. I think it was when I got it. I don't remember noticing that until today. But I checked my other compacts. They don't do that. I'm going to use the Baby Blender with the Peau de Santé. And we're just going to add a little bit up here. And I love this shade because I can use it as a highlight, but also as a blush. So just I'm going to blend a little bit there as well. Get a little bit more. So there's the highlight, and let's move on to the eyes. Before we start off with the eyes, I'm going to take the creme and I'm going to use, this is the Westman Atelier eyeshadow 1 brush. So you can use any brush, but I'm going to use this one. I'm going to put the powder on my lids first because when I took this, like masterclass Zoom thing with Gucci Westman, and she did answer one of the questions in the class where it was about using the powder to get longevity from the shadows, because I don't know about you guys, but I have a hard time getting her trios to last a long time on my eyes. So that's why I don't really recommend them, except the green one, which I can't resist. But I wanted to try the powder. So here's the stack with the green. This is Rendezvous. So here's the green shade here. Let's see. And this one, it reminds me a lot of the Natasha Denona Retro. So, you know, obviously don't need to get these. I do think the Retro is actually a better product than these personally. But I do really like this one and I reach for it. I usually use my fingers for this. So let me go ahead. Let's switch to fingers. See how this goes on. Now these are kind of like a putty shadow. You can see like where my finger has gone in and so forth, but they're not like a really wet putty. They're kind of a dry putty. I just find that for me, they crease very easily. So just gonna put this one all over the lid, blend that up a little bit. So overall, these, her little pod shadows, iPods, I love the packaging. I love the concept. I love how you can use the packaging, you know, for like jewelry and stuff when you're traveling. Once you're done with it, you can keep these and reuse them. But the performance is just not great. And look, I just hit pan. So, you know, I feel like they're just not really worth the money. They don't last super long on the eyes. And there's also, I feel like the product itself, you know, there's not that much there. I'm going to take the green shade, which is called Bonne Chance, sorry. Good luck, I believe. And I'm going to go ahead and add this to the outer portion here. Just kind of feather that in a little bit. Now, her brushes, I don't think the majority of her brushes are necessary. I think they're very nice, but they're very expensive, right? However, I have to make an exception for her eye brushes because they are definitely some of my favorite eye brushes, specifically for traveling. They are synthetic, so you can easily use them for like any type of product. But I just think like, especially for traveling, these shapes are very versatile. There are only 2 of them. So you have this one here that has more of the triangle shape, and it works well for liner. It works well for getting in the inner corner and stuff like that. But then you also have the eyeshadow 2 brush, which is going to be round, more like the Baby Blender, but you've got the stippling effect, which works really well to like kind of blend the crease and all that kind of thing, which honestly, I probably should do that with this right now, but I think, you know, these brushes are just very versatile. So these are expensive, but I think they are really nicely done. So I really love her eye brushes. I like the baby blender a lot as well. And her regular blender, I like the brush. I just think that the price tag for it is a little bit high. Although to be fair, they're all a little bit high. So yeah, but these three would be my favorite, the baby blender and the two eyeshadow brushes. I don't have every single one of her brushes though. All right, we're gonna keep the look pretty light. We're going in with the third shade here, which is Frappe. And I'm gonna get some on the actual angle here. And we're gonna use this for liner. I'm gonna actually put a little bit here on the lower lash line. And I'm going to get a little bit more on the upper lash line. Just kind of smoke that out a little bit. This brush is not going to give you like a precise line for eyeliner, which is fine. The whole look is meant to be very light and natural. All right, so I added the Surratt Expressioniste Brow Pomade in light brown to my brows and the Sisley So Stretch Mascara in deep brown. And then I decided I want to go in with a little bit of the highlight, the Peau de Santé. I'm using the eye brush here. I'm just going to add a little bit of this right to the inner corner here, just for a little brightening here. All right, and that's it. You can see it really didn't add much pigment, but my eyes do look a little bit wider and brighter, I think. Next, we're gonna take the Westman Atelier. This is the lip suede. I have to say, I very rarely use this. I don't love it. I'm not a huge lip palette person though, so that might be part of it, but I'm gonna go in. This is the Omnia lip brush. I do have the Westman Atelier lip brush, and I do like that one. But it's drying right now. So I'm just going into the lightest mauvey shade. I'm gonna put a little bit on my lips, and then we're gonna top it with one of the lip serum gloss things. All right, so I cover most of my lips with that, and I kind of, you know, let the brush kind of feather it away so it has a softer look. I don't want any harsh lines. And now we're gonna top it with one of the glosses. So this is a squeaky clean lip balm, and I like these. These are more of a lip serum lip gloss, so they are a thinner formula. This is a shade Garçon, which is my favorite. I only have a few of these, but this is the one that I use the most. So you can see it's ultra shiny. This shade goes well with that more mauvey shade in the lip palette. And I think it's comfortable on the lips. It has a fruity scent to it. So just something to note, there is kind of a fragrance. I think, I'm not positive, but I don't think it's an added fragrance. I think it's one of the oils that is used in this. It smells, I'd have to double check what it is, but it definitely smells like one of those like fruity oils. And yeah, this has like a thinner, more oily texture on your lips, but it's kind of like if you mix a lip oil and a lip gloss together. It's not as thin as a traditional lip oil, but it's definitely not as thick as a gloss either. So it's kind of a hybrid. And this is gonna be it for the final look. So during the Get Ready With Me, I gave you my opinion on pretty much everything that I used in here. The Biscuit contour stick, really love that. Use that one quite a bit. The foundation stick, I really enjoy that. It's my favorite stick foundation. I've never found another stick foundation that I like so much. Usually for me, stick foundations, I put them on, they can either look heavy, look greasy, or they can turn kind of orange. And this one doesn't do any of those. I use it a ton during the summer. And yeah, so I really like that. As for the blender brush that I use, I love the blender brush. I use it all the time. However, I think it's a hefty price tag, and in my opinion, you know, the Chantecaille, what is this, the Buff and Blur brush, they are like essentially the same, and you can get this for almost a third of the price when this is on sale as you can with the Westman Atelier. So I feel like for that reason, that's why this is not high up on my list. but I do feel like these other three brushes are fairly unique. We've got the eyeshadow 2, the eyeshadow 1. Highly recommend these, especially for people who travel a lot, because they're easy to use. You can use with anything, and their shapes are really versatile. However, you're not going to get detail for precise eye looks. You know, if you're trying to do a lot of detail work, these obviously won't work for that, but they work for a nice look, and they work with any formula, powder, liquid, cream, so forth. And then the baby blender, I really like this as well. I use it for highlighter or for blending out the blush sticks usually, or even the contour stick, but you can also use this on the eyes for all over color as well. So these three are my favorites. I also have the lip brush, which I did not show. I have shown that in another recent video though, and I do like that one, but there's nothing like unique or anything about it in my opinion. As for the blushes, I really like the blushes in general. I have, I think, all of the shades. This one here is Pop It, which is great for a bright pink of color. You can, or bright pop of color, but you can see that it is kind of like a fuchsia pink. It's going to be cooler in tone, and I just think it is a really beautiful shade. But for somebody fair skin like I am, I think the underpainting technique that we use today, this is Biscuit, really worked so that I can get that natural, more pink pop of color rather than something looking harsh and trying to blend it out. So if you are fair skin like me, I would definitely recommend trying the Pop It underneath. I think that technique worked really well. And then I also want to mention the lip palette. As I mentioned, I don't love the lip palettes. I did not pick up the other one because, again, I find these formulas to be a little bit drying on the lips. And I find the lip palette itself is not that easy to use. The sections are just a little bit too narrow. You really do want to go in with a lip brush. If I use my finger, I often end up mixing the shades, which can sometimes be intentional, but if I'm trying not to, it can be a little bit of a pain. And then, you know, for reapplication purposes, I prefer having something in a bullet form. So I do, you know, try to use all of my products periodically. So I did want to use that today, and I used it more as a lip liner that I kind of blended out on the lips. So I had the deeper shades toward the edges and kind of blurred it with the lip brush around the edges and in the center. And then I went in with the Squeaky Clean Lip Balm. And these, again, they're more of a lip serum type formula. This is the shade Garcon. And I really like this one. It's kind of like a muted dusty berry, dusty rose kind of shade. And I really, yeah, that one I use a lot. So yeah, I would recommend it if you're in the market for something like that. And as for the iPods, as I mentioned, they are not a favorite. I love this color combination for the Rendezvous set. So I recommend these if you are looking for a product like this and you like that color combination. However, don't expect them to last all day on your eyes. I will leave a comment to see whether the powder made a difference or not, but they don't last and there's not a ton of product in here. So really, if you really want to splurge on one of these items, this is the one I'd recommend out of the 3 shade options. But overall, I would recommend other eye products over this personally. And moving on to the Peau de Santé, we have, you know, I have a video on this before. I have been using it since I got it. I really like it. I think it is a beautiful pink shade. I do have comparisons with the other ones in my video. I'll leave that link below, but you can see it's going to be a warmer rosy pink shade. There's a little bit of a golden sheen to it. You get a little bit of a gold reflect to it, but there are no chunks of glitter. There is shimmer. It's very finely milled, but I don't see any actual chunks. I think it's a really beautiful highlight, and it pairs really well with pretty much all of the shades in the blush range, in my opinion. So let's talk about the actual powders. And these, I have to say, they're way different than what I was expecting. I didn't really know what to expect when I first saw these launching. Let's put this here. This is Pink Bubble. And I will be doing a powder breakdown with comparisons of these powders with others very soon. So I know several of you have requested certain comparisons. I will have those in that video. If you have any requests, please leave them below. And this one here is Creme. I was also very tempted to get the translucent shade, and I have to say, you know, at some point in time, I probably will pick it up because when I first saw these online, I thought this was just going to be a regular face powder. I didn't think it was going to be anything special, but I was wrong. So I'm going to show you a demo. I did a side-by-side demo. Well, first I have one under the eyes and so forth, like I did in the Get Ready With Me, but I also have a demo where I compare Pink Bubble versus Creme on each side of my face. So you can really see the difference in the tones and what they do to your skin. Now, according to Westman Atelier, this is not just a regular powder. It's supercharged skincare actives that are micro-milled into setting powder form. They sweep away shine, set makeup, and protect skin's natural radiant dimension. It works like makeup, acts like skincare for the ultimate how is my skin this good effect. That's directly from the Westman Atelier website. According to them, they also have a skin defense shield complex, which is made with vitamin C and probiotics, and it shields your skin from free radicals while protecting from blue light. And over time, these press-in actives are supposed to help control sebum, refine your skin texture. The powder itself smooths pores, evens tones, sweeps away shine. And you can see with me putting this on that it really makes a huge difference with the pore situation, in my opinion. As soon as you put it on, like, it is visible blurring effect. My skin looks filtered. If I take a video or a picture of my skin with this powder on, I swear it looks like I have like an Instagram filter on. So when people ask me now what the most blurring powder is, this is going to be it. This is the most blurring powder I've ever used. Next up would be the Rodeo Glass powder. That is still really incredible at blurring. But I think those are the two most blurring powders I've ever used. This one actually, like, when you feel it, it feels very finely milled. If you have tried the Pat McGrath under eye setting powder, if you touch that with your fingers, that feels very finely milled and smooth, but it's also a little bit powdery, right? So this one feels like that, finely milled and smooth. They feel like they have the same amount of compression in the pan, but this one has absolutely no powdery kick up on there, really. It's almost more like gel powder type formula, yet yeah, it's really hard to explain. You kind of have to feel it. And I think even with first use, you don't really notice until you get past that top layer, but you really only need a tiny bit of product. Now, recommendations for this, by the way, is considered clean, talc-free, and silicone-free. And there are 5 shades. So there's a translucent, which is supposed to act like an invisible veil. It's recommended for setting your makeup, giving you blurred skin, but it's not really going to do anything to your skin tone. And you know, Gucci Westman has recommended the translucent for almost all skin tones. So just note that if you do have a much deeper skin tone, the translucent isn't technically recommended for the deepest skin tones. Then there's Pink Bubble, and you can see in the demo that this one does add a little bit of brightening, but it's definitely not going to add as much brightening as, for example, the Koh Gen Do brightening powder in the pink one. That's going to add a lot more brightening. This is giving you a subtle brightness, so it doesn't look like you're using anything to brighten your skin, but it is brightening it. So this is recommended for light to medium complexions. It says, according to them, it's going to be suitable for shades N, which I use, to 7, and the translucent is N to 12, by the way. Creme is suitable for N to 7 as well, just like Pink Bubble, and it's supposed to be a sheer veil. The difference for me on the skin between the Pink Bubble and the Creme is I see a little subtle brightness from the Pink Bubble, whereas with the Creme, I see it more neutralizing the redness in my skin. So it really evens that complexion out a little bit more and just kind of neutralizes that redness a little bit. So I'm really happy that I picked that one up. I think that is definitely a great, like, all over face powder for me. But if I had to pick between the two of them, I think my preference still lies with the Pink Bubble. So if I was looking to just get one, you know, even all over the skin, the Pink Bubble I think looks really good on my complexion. So I would still pick Pink Bubble over the Creme. Then we also have shade Dune, which is for tan complexions, suitable for Atelier 9 to 11. And Cafe is for deeper complexions, and that is for 11.5 to 15. So this According to Westman Atelier, this powder is an incredible formula for a more mature skin type. It will blur the appearance of pores and fine lines and can be used to set liquid and cream products. If you have fine lines and wrinkles, what you want to do is you press your powder brush into the powder compact, tap off anything excess, and lightly sweep it onto the skin. You really only need a tiny, tiny bit. This powder is recommended either for setting towards the beginning of your routine. Even if you don't use makeup, you can just use this for a blurring effect on your skin after your skincare, or you can use it throughout the day to refresh, or after everything to kind of give you this like blurred effect on your skin as a finishing powder. So just a few more things. The Vital Press Skincare Powder is made without silicones, parabens, PEGs, talc, phthalates, or synthetic fragrances. It's vegan and no testing on animals during any stage of product development. That is, again, from the Westman Atelier website. Now, the translucent, as I mentioned, is intended for refining your skin and setting makeup. It can give you this blurred effect, but it's not going to affect your tone. The other shades are all supposed to do the exact same thing, but also even your skin tone out. So that's kind of what it does. Now, Gucci Westman has, kind of left a note on her website talking about why she created this. And according to her, this is going to have skin benefits that get better as you wear it over time. It's a weightless feel, beautiful real skin finish. And one of the purposes was that you can layer this on at any step during the process. So, it's really a multi-use powder. It's more than just a regular powder. And I have to say, I love it. I really love this product. I think this is by far the best powder that I have used and the best product in the Westman Atelier makeup line. This is really incredible. I feel like we are starting to see some breakthroughs in technology for like powders and powder bombs. The Danessa Myricks balm is incredible. It is not like this, by the way. They are completely different products. That is going to be best for oily skins to kind of absorb oil and everything throughout the day, giving you a little bit more of a matte finish. It's a balm type texture that kind of dries matte. Very different than this, although they both do blurring and they both can mattify. So just so you know, I don't think they're really interchangeable. I personally find the Danessa Myricks balm to be more useful underneath makeup, whereas this I think is great for any stage of the makeup, but I would use it more so for setting or finishing powder versus underneath as a base product, like I would use the Danessa Myricks. So just a few quick comparisons there. I hope that was helpful. But overall, I have to say that Westman Atelier is a really great brand. If you're looking for clean beauty brands, I highly recommend this one. They obviously do have a higher luxury price tag. They are a luxury beauty brand. I personally don't have a problem with that. They are thankfully being sold at Sephora now, so it is something that you can take advantage of during like the Sephora Friends and Family sale, VIB sale, and stuff like that if you are a member. So overall, I have to say that I think Westman Atelier is a very solid beauty brand. It's a great luxury beauty brand. I personally really love the majority of the products from the brand. There are a few things I haven't tried yet. I have not tried the bronzers, for example, but I think overall they're a very solid brand. Whether you're looking for clean beauty or not, I think they're a great brand. But if you're somebody interested in clean beauty, they are definitely a brand that I would highly recommend on that list, because my personal experience with a lot of clean beauty brands is they have great claims, they have great ingredients, but the performance isn't really there. And I feel like Westman Atelier has sort of overcome that hurdle, and they don't feel like some of those clean beauty brands going on. I feel like the performance is better. That's not to say all clean beauty brands. It's a generalization for things that I have used in the past. There are definitely some great things coming from clean beauty brands, and we'll talk more about those another time. And just a caveat here, we're using the clean beauty term because that is how they like to identify themselves. I personally don't believe in clean beauty. I think that it's kind of like a fear-mongering term. So we can talk about that another time, but that's a personal opinion there. However, if you are looking for something with more natural ingredients and everything like that, Westman Atelier is a very solid brand for that, in my opinion. And I think the performance is there for the majority of the items. So I hope this was helpful. I'd love to know what you think. If you've tried any of these, I would highly, highly recommend this powder. Right now, it is currently only available on the Westman Atelier website, but it is coming to other retailers. So if you are somebody who would rather wait for it to come to Sephora, see it in person, it will be coming at some point. It's not exclusive to the website. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you very soon.